Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Chronicles of Sovik. So if you watched the last recording in this series, you'll have seen that we went and killed Nathanos Blightcaller after a couple of deaths, but we managed to get rid of him. We're now in Ice Crown. Now, Ice Crown, for anyone who's yet to do this, is in Northrend, right up in this top corner up there. The easiest way to get there from Orgrim is grab a portal through to Dalaran, and then if you haven't been to Dalaran before, where is Dalaran on here? Over here somewhere. If you haven't been to Dalaran before or haven't been to Northrend before, you're gonna have to manually fly up here, which is pretty. It doesn't take too long. It's just a couple of minutes to get up here. Okay, so the quest we've got is to see Justicar Mariel Trueheart. A message from Ice Crown. You arrived just in time. Commander Frog spoke highly of you. Securing the enemy area. The Scourge's attack was as sudden as it was unexpected. Truth be told, they caught us unawares. Through swift action, we were able to rally our defences, though not before the tournament grounds were overrun. We must secure the area before we can mount a counter-offensive. Vanquish those monsters, or these monsters are the name of the light. So we need to remove 12 Scourge from the Argent tournament ground to get an Argent commendation when we're on 5 at the moment. So let's accept that. And then Crusader Wren has a quest for us as well called A Valiant Effort. It's been quite some time since we faced such a large number of Scourge. We were ill prepared for an assault of this scale. While we managed to escort many to safety, there are some who are wounded in the chaos. Search for training grounds for any survivors from the onslaught. We need all the help we can get. So we need to rescue 6 wounded Valiants from the training grounds. Again, we get an Argent commendation for that. So let's see what we can find. This guy here looks like he needs a buff, so we mend his wounds. This is one of the ghouls, so let's get him. Now, again, our gear is, aside the weapon, very light, very thin on the ground in terms of quality. It's pretty much level 45 gear. So we're not going to be killing these ghouls, these chillborn Noras, quite as quick as perhaps we should be able to. And we certainly want to try and avoid this big guy, which I don't think we're going to, because he's going to look straight into my Void Walker. But didn't pay any attention to us, which is fantastic. Okay, it's going to leave it him. Okay, so we got a Darkened Scourge Stone. I'll talk more about that in a moment.
How may I aid?
Let's get these done. So again, the wounded ones are fairly easy to spot. They're in green. There's another one down here. You can see some around here as well. So let's go and get these done. Now we know that big guy comes over in this direction, so again, we don't want to have our back turned to him just in case he comes across. Now if you can come over here and find, there's also loads of people doing this at the same time. Again, as long as you're tagging the mobs, they'll all count as kills. You might have to fight over these though, which is for wounded Valiants. For me, it's very clear. There's no one here, so that's not a problem. There you go. That guy, someone's ran into him. We'll stay on the edge and grab these ones over here. So this one's a Chillbone Nora. He counts as one of the ones we need in terms of removing the Scourge from the area, securing the area. Let's kill him. Just goal from him. Okay, so that's 4 or 12. It doesn't take too long to do it. Obviously a little bit quicker if there's a big pack of your faction already here doing it at the same time. Certainly when I did it on my main, on the EU side, there was loads of folk doing it. It was very, very quick. I actually had more problem healing the Valiants than what I did doing killing these. Shadow Bolt. another darkened Scourge stone. Let's move that here because we do know there's a big one that flies around here. Let's take that one. Someone else is already killing him. That's 7 of 10 of 12. Eight of 12. Okay, there's a big pile of them over here. Let's see if we can grab some of these. Again, even if you've I said a few minutes ago, my gear is sort of pretty much item level 45. Aside for the weapon, which I got now a level 115 weapon from killing Nathanos Blightcaller. But the rest of the gear is really pretty weak. So even if you come up here and you've got fairly weak gear, like a few item levels, a few levels below sort of maximum level, I wouldn't fret too much about it. I don't seem to be having a great deal of issue killing these, not to begin with. Now again, I am kind of cherry picking the small guys. You know, I'm not going after those sort of big abomination type ones. Okay, so that's 12 of 12. I think there's a body over here which I haven't looted as well. Let's just grab this one in case he's got something, which he doesn't. Okay, so let's go and fly back and hand these in. Now this zone near where these guys are, you can't mount in here. So you actually fall off your mount like I just did them.
Yes.
Okay, so securing the area. It appears we are making headway, so we get Argent accommodation for that. And from this one, we'll see it to it that they receive proper attention. We get an Argent accommodation for that one as well. Scouting from a safe distance. The resurgence of the Scourge is troubling enough, but there are also reports that the Cult of the Damned has arisen anew as well. If true, then that bodes ill for us all. We cannot allow the cultist machinations to continue unchecked. I suggest we engage in some reconnaissance. So we need to survey the Cult of the Damned's presence at Oldfar and Mordrefar, and we get an Argent accommodation for that. Now, this guy over here with the blue exclamation mark over his head, Strange Scourge Stones, he is the vendor, and this is who we're going to be handing these Scourge Stones in, which we've picked up already, and also these Argent accommodations. He has a quest for us. The Lich King's minions once carried Scourge Stones given to them by their Dark Master. We have a few already. New ones have been found on the corpses of the undead, but we do not know their purpose, and they have been touched by even more sinister magic. As you slay the Scourge across Icecrown, keep your eyes open for such stones. If you bring them back to me, I shall turn them over to the Confessors for study. So we need to collect darkened Scourge Stones and pitch black Scourge Stones from the undead forces in the Icecrown. After that, we get 5 Argent accommodations. So just doing that quest. Let's get rid of this rare for now. And if you click on him, and you click I want to browse your goods, these are the Argent accommodations. So aside the first two, which is like a toy and a pet, all the rest of this stuff is gear, and it's all level 100. So it's pretty good, and it's all like a part of a set as well. And I don't know how I've got the head piece of that. That's interesting. Well, the appearance, not the exact piece. I've got the appearance of that. And there's also some braces over there. So you're really collecting the Argent commendations for these pieces, that pet, and that toy. And then the Scourge Stones over here, these ones, let's tuck this up here. When you get 25 of these green ones, the Darkened Scourge Stones, that exchanges for 1 Argent combination. And then the Pitch Black Scourge Stone, I believe what it's called, you can swap 25 of them for 3 accommodations. So it's nice to find if you can find them along the way. I know people go and farm for these, but I found from my experience, after a couple of days of flying around killing the rares, which we're going to do later on in this recording, you pick up plenty of these Scourge Stones anyway. So I don't know if I wanted to spend several hours just trying to farm for the level 100 gear. The aim for this character is to hunt and farm for rares to get the level 110 stuff rather than that level 100 stuff which we just sent. Okay, so we do have, I thought we had a quest up here. This one, which we're literally just above.
Perhaps you should have stayed in the mountains.
Okay, so you click on that, and obviously you look through the telescope and you can kind of see what's going on in this area. No shocks, lots of no good going on. And then we need to go over in this direction. Down to this one. Again, I'll show you where this is on the map, just over here, so it's kind of both in this location. We click on this one. And shock horror, we see more minions and ghouls up to no good. And these are the things that we're going to be going around and killing. So that's that done. So once you've done that quest, it's a case of going handing this in. So I won't at this stage, and I certainly wouldn't recommend trying to collect all these strange Scourge stones at the moment. You'll get them in due course. You can of course go and stand around in this area where we just got a few from to begin with. Basically every time you loot and you get a Scourge stone, whether it's 1, 2 or 10, that counts as 10%. So, but I wouldn't recommend doing it straight away.
You have my attention.
Okay, they must be planning something, though what I cannot say. Well, I will instruct our scouts to observe and report. So you get 23 gold, 40 silver, and one of these Argent commendations.
There is still much
Advancing
to be
the
done
effort. While the other Crusaders regain control of the tournament grounds, you and I must press on. Our forces previously attempted to set up a forward camp farther into Icecrown, but they were overrun. With you by our side, I am confident we can reclaim the area. So we need to secure a foothold atop the Iron Wall rampart in Icecrown. So we get the Icecrown effort, which is the access to the daily quests, and we get 5 Argent commendations. So we'll accept that.
I await your signal.
Any more? No, that is it. So we can't mount up there. So you have to take a few steps until you get out of there. And then off we go. So this one is over in this direction. Now, flying around, I will point out again from doing this on my EU character, if you kind of just hover around and let's say you go decide to make a cup of coffee or go get some food or something along those lines, there is always a potential that one of these flying around Scourge, bat, dragon sort of creatures may actually come and start engaging you. So don't just think if you're hovering around somewhere for like a few minutes that you're going to be safe. You might come back and find yourself actually dead because something's engaged you in the air. So just be careful of that. Now this is our first opportunity to have a look at what's going on down here. Plenty of Scourge. Some of these, there's lots of these little guys down here as well. And all of these guys that we've seen all have the potential of dropping these Scourge stones. See, that's one of those ones flying around, so you just have to be a little bit careful of this. Okay, so it looks like we're on top of that next bit. Some of these guys as well, I certainly wouldn't recommend. Like, he's got 80,000 health. Some of them have got a lot more than that as well. So just be careful, especially if you are a little bit light in the gear department. Now this one, when I did this before, there was a few of us around here. Hopefully it's going to be the same this time, because if it's just me it might be a bit more difficult. You call in the reinforcements, and it does look like it's just me down here with the NPCs.
Get to your positions. These grounds will
And
be
then what's going to happen now
enough.
is you're going to start seeing some swarms, or let's call it more like waves of enemy popping up from over in this direction and heading this way. So let's cast our Soulstone on just in case we need it. Okay, first wave dealt with.
They won't let us
So you
take
get these
it without
Dark
a
Swarm
fight.
Bonecasters, basically creating a wave of, well, this one's a lumbering atrocity. Let's take them down, see if there's anything difficult with the skeletons way. Again, we've got enough soul shards on this affliction wall, we can just use our military laboratories and squeeze it out quite quickly. And that's been dealt with. Wave number 3 this time is going to be some more skeletons. slightly easier how I remember it was when I ran around beforehand. Okay, so that's that done.
Making headway. Stay focused.
Wave 4 is going to be a number one of these lumbering atrocities, plus a skeleton, plus two more skeletons, and a shadow mage. So let's put some focus on these guys. Okay, this looks like these ones. Let's again use some ruptures. Put him down. No real issues with it in terms of any of my health. Again, you know, the game is very modest, so don't be too concerned if you're coming at her light. And finally, we get a bone giant who's got 55,000 health. And he obviously looks like one of the... Let's use Haunt for our rotation. He looks like one of the sort of tough characters, the mini-boss up here. Unfortunately, we've got one Soul Shard. And then use that again. You. Okay, so we got feared at that stage. Where's he gone? There's a few soul shards we can make there. I think these NPCs need to start doing a job for me. We've got a health stone, we've got a potion here as well. The NPCs kind of stood still, so if it happens to you again, just drag them towards where the NPCs were.
Well done.
A job well done. I'm sure the Justica will be pleased. Let's share with her news of our success. Okay, so back to Ice Crown. There is a lot of these in this quest line of going backwards and forwards, as you can see so far. Now, in terms of the daily quests, from what I've seen, there appears to be like 1 or 2 generic daily quests, and my main on the EU side is an alchemist, and I've had alchemy daily quests as well. In fact, I've had the same one for the 2 days it's been running on the EU side. So I don't know if there's varied or whether it's exactly the same one. Now, this character's main profession is jewel crafting. He hasn't got alchemy, so I'll be interested to see what sort of daily quests you get from that. But again, with the Argent Commendations and the Scourge Stones and bits and pieces, I found even, you know, I wouldn't say casually playing, you know, I put a few hours in on my EU side. I've got more than enough to buy all of the gear and a pet or 4, and then, you know, still have these commendations left over. So I won't, unless you're starting this really, really late into the event, and if you're starting this quite early, I won't bust a gut to just crack on and get this done. Okay, back to the Justica. Advancing the effort. Excellent work, Sovik. Preparations are underway. Soon the foothold will be stocked and ready for use as a staging ground. For the time being, there are other matters that require your attention. So let's get the daily quests and the Argent Combination done, delaying their efforts. The Scourge continue to replenish their weapons of war from blighted ground. Stopping their work slows their production, but a decisive blow to their stockpiles will be far more effective. Take these and head to the area southeast of here. Plant the bombs, then make a quick exit. Weakening their supply line should provide us ample time to retaliate. So the quest objective for this is a daily quest, is to plant the bombs at the northern, east and western sites of a bombardment and remove 12 decrepit labourers from the area, and you get 3 Argent Commendations for that. Okay, and this one over here, the Alchemy Train, is exactly where we got the one beforehand. So again, it doesn't look like it's an alchemy mill. Maybe it's just a daily for everybody. Fungal feeding. This is one I've done twice already. Just so I was making progress on our alternative defence research, my spore samples ran dry. The mushrooms I was using can only be found in a particularly unpleasant location to the southeast. To collect an appropriately sized sample, you'll have to, how do I put this, feed them. Don't ask me why, but apparently they mature fastest with a nice rotting corpse nearby. Try luring a few undead to our fungal friends. That should give them all the nutrients they need to grow big and strong. So we need to collect 20 mature spore samples from gloom shrooms in Scourge Holm. and we get free Argent accommodations for that as well. Now, both of the dailies are very easy. The mushroom one is very easy. You just go and pick some mushrooms up. They don't all spawn at the same time, so you just need to kind of look for when they spawn. And that's over in this area there. The bombardment one is over in this area there. So I don't think what I'm going to do is kind of show you how to do the daily quests, because I think it's sort of like, you know, going to be fairly obvious. And you just do the dailies, then you bring them back, and that's it. Until the next day when you pick up the dailies again. You get the accommodations of that. However, what we'll focus on now is the rare hunting. So if you look on the map here, I have got all of these labelled up on my map. Now these are come from Handy Notes, and the add-on is called Handy Notes Scourge something or other. Let's have a look, see what it is. Handy Notes Scourge Invasions of Shadowlands. So you need that. So you need Handy Notes as well. And you also need the rare scanner, because that's what's been flashing up and telling me what rares they've taken place. So when you look at this, you can hover on these and you can see that Prince Keliseth is to respawn in 5 hours 29 minutes. This one here, Scaddy the Ruthless, is 4 hours 49. When you hover over them, you can kind of see where you need to kind of go, or what the order of them is. And what you can also see, if you want to see the order, I'm seeing which one's the next one to pop up. 2 hours, 3 hours, 48 minutes. Okay, so Fulric's in 48 minutes. This one, Marwyn's in 28 minutes. Now these spawn every 20 minutes, which means there's one spawning in about 8 minutes, which is this one here. Forge Master Garfrost. So, if you hover on this one over here, this skull, this gives you the order which are going to go in. So the one we just looked at is number 12, Forge Master Garfrost. We know after him it's Marwyn and then Fulric. So here's Forge Master Garfrost. He is going to spawn in 8 minutes time, so we're going to fly over to him. Then it's Marwyn in 28 minutes, and then 20 minutes after that it's Fulric. So you can kind of see the order which they're going to go into. She's a little bit later on. So after Fulric, for instance, it'd be the Prophet Faron Jar. Is he over this one? That's him, and he's in an hour 7 minutes. So every 20 minutes you have a rare spawn. Now, how do you know what the rare is going to drop? So if you kind of hover again on this sort of icon, this is the first one we're going to, Forge Master. You can see here, he's got 3 items which potentially can drop. The Garfrost 2-ton bludgeon, a 2-handed axe. He's got a plate, leg guard, and then he has a ring of carnelian and sinew, which we can learn. So the first 2 are unlearnable, we won't get them dropped. You can only get drops of what you actually need. And then he's also got that ring as well. So let's go and head over in his direction. Now you also have an option or an ability to get some of the things in the bottom here. So the bow, the cloth, the leather, the mail, the plate, depending on your class, and also the accursed keepsake. More on that in a second. So the clinch or the kinch of the servant can potentially drop from any of these guys or girls, these rare bosses. And the accursed keepsake is almost like a toy. It's a white item. It's like the Haunted Memento, if you know what that is. And basically you use it, and you can resell it again afterwards, so you can just use it as much as you want before you can sell it. And it kind of creates like a shadowy ghost behind you, which you can do. So it's effectively a cosmetic effect. It's not something I'm particularly interested in, although maybe for a warlock it might suit better than some of my other sort of tunes. But it's something that you can sell on the auction house, and I've sold one. I picked one up on my main character and sold it already for 30,000. So if you do manage to get one, feel free just to, you know, put it on the auction house and get rid of it. Now this is what you're going to see when you go to the next person who's going to spawn. All of these friendly and, you know, alliance other players here. So you know he's going to spawn there. And because I've got the add-ons, I can see Forge Master Garfrost is going to spawn in this area. And I think he spawns probably just about here. So all we need to do is sit and wait. So again, if you want to just see how long he's got, you just hover on that, 5 minutes 54. Now what happens is this. Let's just go and park our bot down here somewhere. What happens is this. He will spawn, and when he spawns, it'll come up on the map that everybody in Ice Crown that he's appeared. So everyone knows he's the rare that's up at the same time. So if you're not particularly keen on using add-ons, don't want to download any, or your computer's not capable of like dealing with the add-ons, you'll know who's going to come up next. And you've basically got 2 minutes to get to from wherever you are in Ice Crown to that location. So you can use Wowhead to find the locations, and if you want any add-ons, maybe drop them down. And when it flashes up, you can see where they are. For me, it's a lot easier though to have this Handy Notes add-on, the Rare Scanner, which will pop up as well, and then just fly there. And obviously, this gives you a nice little crib card of who's come and what, and in what order. So we know he is going to potentially drop a ring for us. We know the next one over here has got, you have to kind of just hover on the edge, I find. There we go. He has got 2 cloth items which we need from Marwyn. He's got some shoulder guards, and he has also got, again, just hover on the edge. There we go. Sightless, and looks like a helmet potentially, as well as a mail item which we won't get. And then this one has got some cloth braces. Now some of these guys just don't have anything that you need, so you can kind of skip it. That one's got also has quite a few bits and pieces. He's got definitely got a ring, you can see there. What's this one got? Sometimes it's a bit difficult to kind of see exactly what they drop with his tooltip. Let's find one where we can see it a bit easier. There we go. So this one's dropping a cloth as well. So again, you just need to go to each one and see if they drop anything that you particularly need. This one drops a strength trinket. So again, do I really need to go up to him when he drops level 11 a strength trinket? Probably not. So what's going to happen, as I said, is he'll spawn in this area in a couple of minutes' time, and that'll alert everyone to Ice Crown. Now, for I think about 2 minutes after he spawns, it is about 2 minutes, he is unattackable. So he'll be in orange, the same as the Alliance guys are here. So you can't attack him, you can't sort of tag him or anything along those lines, but it gives everybody else an opportunity to come in from wherever they are and tag him as well. Now, depending on how many people you've got in the area at any time, we've got a few here, but it's not millions of folk. Will depend on how long it takes to kill him. So sometimes it takes maybe up to a minute, sometimes it can take like 5 seconds. So if you are in the zone and you do have an alert come on, you know you've got a couple of minutes to get there. You know you've got an opportunity if you give everything 2 minutes to tag him, which is great. And then what he's going to drop, that's not him. Let's see if we can get him though. No, someone's gone first. What he's going to drop is potentially one of those objects, which was listed. So for this one, it's going to be potentially a ring. You're potentially going to get any of the stuff which is on the left-hand side. So there was a cloth piece up there as well, all the accursed keepsake. You've also potentially, there he is. So this is Forge Master Garfrost. He's just appeared. He's just appeared in Silver Dragon up here as well. So there he is. So I can just click on him. There's a big old lump, and you can see in the you can't see in the chat at the moment because my camera's in the way. But it says winged figures appear through the shattered sky and call upon Forge Master Garfrost to rise again. It's exactly the same words with a different character or mini boss in there. So this will take 2 minutes for everyone now to sort of pile in from wherever they are. I seem to be the only horde person here, which is a little bit strange. Let's go kill this one while we're waiting. Again, you haven't got to worry about doing this. But just as we're there anyway, let's go kill him. So my tip would be, just make sure you've got him highlighted, because sometimes, especially some of the smaller bosses, that you might not even be able to see him. They'll just be surrounded by a pack of other players. Sometimes actually finding him and clicking on him is a little bit difficult, because you can't tab, because he's not attackable at the moment. So make sure you've got him sort of lined up, and then as soon as we start, all I'm going to do is cast a spell, one of my insta-cast spells probably, just to start off with. Then I'll just go through my rotation, we'll just see how long it takes. Again, there's probably about 20 other players here at the same time, maybe 25. So this will give you a good indication just how long these sort of boss fights last. I haven't found through my experience that any of the bosses are any more difficult, harder, weaker than any of the others. They all kind of seem to go down about the same amount of time. Yeah, and I don't think it's really worth trying to learn any mechanics for it. It's just a case of getting in there, getting a couple of attacks in, and losing them. So we've got potential of the ring, the miss guy, because we are sorry, not ring. Didn't he talk to cloth? No, I think it was just a ring. This one. There we go. He's now up. Let's get some spells on. Okay, so it's not going down incredibly quickly. Again, one of the things you do with rewatch pay attention is just make sure you can find the guy as well. I've got 20 lives, so Soul Stone, just the base, which is wrong. Okay, so this fight is already lasting a lot longer than some of the other fights I've had. This has probably been going on for getting close to a minute now. So again, anyone who's in the zone, give them plenty of opportunity to come in and attack. On board with the unfortunately usually ends. So when we kill him, you do have to kind of just loot as well. You don't just get the loot of hair, but you do like some of the other mobs in the game. You do actually need to go and loot him. There he is, and here he's fallen. And we didn't get anything from him bar the pitch black Scourge stones. So you're always going to get that, whether you get loot or you don't get loot. You're always going to get the pitch black Scourge stones with the potential of getting an item or not. Now I found from my experience, I'm getting an item when I was doing it on the EU side, more or less every other boss. Now some people are saying it's a little bit less than that. I'm finding pretty much 50% of the time I'm getting an item, then I'm not getting an item. So it's certainly worth doing. So what I'm going to do on this now, in terms of like looking ahead for Shadowlands, is I am going to be doing some farming on this and going around and doing some of the next characters, these next rares. You can also see, now I've killed one of these, or one of them has been killed whilst we've been chasing around, the next one highlights in pink. So if you have a look down here, Marwyn is already in pink. And he spawned in 19 minutes time. He's the guy that drops the cloth items. So we need to go and kill him. And you can see as well that the one we've just killed is vanished off here. Now, although he's vanished off here, you can go and kill these multiple times per day. That's not a problem. You know, if you killed him at 6 o'clock in the morning, it takes about 6.5 hours for Immortus to reset. You can go. Are we heading in the right direction here? Yeah, it's kind of over here. It takes about 6.5 hours, 6 hours 20 for them to all sort of reset again. So if you do kill them or don't get any loot, you can always go back and do it another time. As soon as I've got the two clear, I'm not going to get 2 cloth items. I might get 1 cloth item from this guy. As soon as I've done that, then you can cross them off your list. You don't need to go and do it again. And what will actually happen is in the tooltip, instead of it saying missing, it will say collected, or words to that effect. So that's it. So that's a very quick run through of getting to Ice Crown, doing the beginning quests, getting the daily quests unlocked, seeing what the daily quests are without us actually having to do them, and then going around finding the rares, using the 2 add-ons I've talked about, Handy Notes, the Handy Notes Scourge Invasions for Shadowlands, as well as using Rare Scanner, and that is it. So hopefully you found this useful. For me, as part of my series, getting him up to, because he's now max level now, and getting prepared for Shadowlands, as I said, I'm going to spend quite a bit of time over the next few days, or the next couple of weeks, trying to get as much gear as possible, trying to get rid of some of this utter guff, level 57, level 48 stuff, and getting some of this proper stuff like this level 115, and getting 110s in all of this as well. So he's a bit more better prepared, rather than item level 59, which is where he's at the moment, getting himself up to item level 100 plus. So thanks for watching. Hopefully, fingers crossed I get some loot for the rest of the day. I'm not going to put videos up clearly every time I get a bit of loot. I'll probably just give it a few days, see what I can collect over a few days, and come back and show you. So until next time, thanks for watching again, and goodbye.